Hi, our criminology term of the day is territoriality. One of the general characteristics of criminal law is territoriality, which means that penal laws of the Philippines are enforceable only within its territory. Article 2 of Revised Penal Code embraces two scopes of applications. First is intra-territorial. It refers to the application of the RPC within the Philippine territory, land, air, and water. Second is extraterritorial. Refers to the application of the revised penal code outside the Philippine territory. So what is the general rule? Penal laws of the country have force and effect only within its territory, which means first, it cannot penalize crimes committed outside its territory. Next, the national territory comprises the Philippine archipelago. So, tingnan nyo sa Article 1 ng 1987 Constitution. And last, the territory of the country is not limited to the land where its sovereignty resides, but includes also its maritime and interior waters, as well as its atmosphere. So, what are the 5 exceptions to this rule? That even committed outside the Philippine territory, air, land, and water is still subject to the Philippine criminal law. So, ang tawag dyan ay extraterritorial crimes, which are punishable even if committed outside the Philippine territory. So, first is the crimes committed aboard Philippine ship or airship. Okay, so we have two rules as to jurisdiction over crimes committed aboard merchant vessels while in the territorial waters of another country. So, yan ang French rule at English rule. Okay, so for French rule, it is the flag or nationality of the vessel which determines jurisdiction. So, if we say jurisdiction, sila yung merong authority or power na magbigay ng legal decisions or judgment. Okay? So, unless the crime violates the peace and order of the host country. So, for English rule, the location of the crime determines jurisdiction unless the crime merely relates to internal management of the vessels. So, dalawang yan, the Philippines adheres to the English rule. However, these rules are not applicable if the vessel is on the high seas or yung walang nagmamay-ari or walang may jurisdiction na part ng ating dagat. So, when the crime was committed, in these cases, the laws of the nationality of the ship will always apply. So, yung French rule ang mag-apply. So, when the crime is committed in a war vessel of a foreign country, the nationality of the vessel will always determine jurisdiction because war vessels are part of the sovereignty of the country to whose naval force they belong. Take note, the country of registry determines the nationality of the vessel, not its ownership. A Filipino-owned vessel registered in China must fly the Chinese flag. The next is forging or counterfeiting coins or currency notes in the Philippines. So, forgery is committed abroad and it refers only to the Philippine coin, currency note, obligations, and securities. So, hindi yan ligtas sa ating criminal law. So, doon sa pangatlo, should introduce into the country the above-mentioned obligations and securities. Next is, when the public officer or employees commit an offense in the exercise of their function. So, what are the crimes committed pertains to the exercise of the public official's function or may kinalaman sa kanilang trabaho. So, we have the direct bribery, qualified bribery, indirect bribery, corruption, frauds against the public treasury, possession of prohibited interest, malversation of public funds or property, failure to render accounts, illegal use of public funds or property, failure to make delivery of public funds or property, falsification by a public officer or employee committed with abuse of his official position, and last, those having to do with the discharge of their duties in a foreign country. And the last exemption is commit any of the crimes against national security and the law of nations. So, Title 1, Book 2 of the Revised Penal Code. So, nandyan ang crimes against national security. First is treason, conspiracy and proposal to commit treason. Next is misprisions of treason and espionage. So, meron ding crimes against the law of nations. So, inciting to war or giving motives for reprisals, violation of neutrality, correspondence within the hostile country, flight to enemy's country, and piracy in general, and mutiny on the high seas or the Philippine water. So, take note, crimes against public order, example rebellion, coup d'etat, sedition, committed abroad is under the jurisdiction of the host country. Yan ang ating criminology term of the day. Good luck and to God be the glory.